shoes come in for repair, first thing is have a look at those. Have a look at the backs of those there. Look, can you see? Yeah, how they're just splaying out a little bit. Yeah, walking over. Gentleman's walking over in them. Lovely, lovely pair of shoes. They are a Lisbon, a Church's Lisbon. But surprisingly, look at the repair. They've got a Cheaney City sole on. And so this is a rubber sole, super hard wearing rubber sole. Really does suit this type of shoe. But it is a Church's shoe. How has that happened? Maybe they've been back to Cheaney for a repair. So this is not the original sole, obviously from Church's. Been back for a repair. Maybe this is a very old shoe and Church's, and it was while Church and Cheaney were together, and the repair section has been done in the Cheaney factory rather than the Church factory. I don't know, but it's definitely a Church shoe, Church Lisbon shoe with a Cheaney City sole on it and the Cheaney heel on it. So how that's happened, I don't know, but anyway, that's a mix. They've got a little bit of an issue going off here. The gentleman's told us to look at the stitching. See how the stitching's coming apart there. Look, so we've ended up with this bit here. We'll just somehow solution that back together, tidy all the stitching up and get that together nice and strong. We might have to bring that stitching up here a little bit just to bring some strength further up into the shoe, but that's okay. There's a little bit of fluff going off on the other side, like they've had a repair stitch there before. You see the fluff there? So that's something's going off there. Maybe that went last time and it's been stitched whilst it was having this repair, and possibly all that happened at the Cheaney factory. So this is the shoe, and it is a lovely looking shoe. The gentleman talks about something happening with the uppers being polished burgundy and black and such. All we can do with the uppers on a pair of shoes like these is we can strip it off with the Saphir Renomat and Renomat, whichever it is. Strip it off and polish it back up again. If you are wanting to change the colour and do burnishing and such, unfortunately we don't have a lot of time. What on earth are you doing there? Pulling the stitches out the welt? Yeah?
I've got just one row stitching in.
Yeah, and they have, yeah? One row stitching, right. So we can strip that off and polish it back up the nearest to original. We wouldn't get into changing the colour on them. You just don't know where that ends. You could have hours and hours and hours trying to get it. One shoe colours up nice, the other shoe doesn't colour up quite right. So we would strip it off, and you can see it has got lots of old polish on there. Strip it off and give it another polish up, and it looks like originally it was like a reddy sort of brown. So yeah, that is doable, stripping it off and polishing it. But we have to say to our customers, most of your work on the uppers is really your end of the servicing of your shoes. The sole, the gentleman's looking for, he says commando. Could you do a commando on there?
It's got a weld, I'll put it on it.
Yep, so this, it can have a commando sole, and it will, commando sole, commando heel, it will obviously bulk this shoe up a little bit, and it will give it a little bit more weight. Not a lot, because it's quite heavy now. So it would need a midsole in there, would it, Paul? A very thin midsole, then the commando sole stitched on, and that would make it a heavier shoe. It would give it a real nice sort of special 4x4 look. You know, it would be your lovely car with big wheels and chunky tyres on it. So that would be a midsole on there, and then the commando sole on. Could you do the commando sole without the midsole?
You could.
You could, yes. Yes, I'm just thinking if we didn't want to make it too stout. I mean, the difference is, what's that? 4mm, 3.5, 4mm. That there.
I never recommend it with a Dainite, but you don't know with the thickness of the tread on a commando, you could get away with it.
Yeah, so you could get away with it. So great, lovely. Now, what about the fact that they're walking out a little bit? Is it possible to just level that heel up and bring it over just a little Nat's noodly to try and level the shoe back up again?
Just tilt the stack.
Yep. We can do that. We can do that. The problem you have with that is this is how the shoe's been worn by the customer, and we can just offset that a little bit to bring that back round. Your problem you've got is it could make the shoe uncomfortable, because this is how it was made, this is how it's worn in. So then suddenly we do a little bit of altering on the heel stacks, and suddenly you put the shoe on and it feels a little bit not right, feels a little bit uncomfortable. At that point, what can we do? Well, you can send it back and we can take that heel off and we can take out that little lift, extra lift that we've put in, and put the shoe back. But at that point you're paying again, because it's something that we're trying to do to help you, but we can't stand the expense of redoing that if it's not exactly working out for you, which is the best way to say it. So that's about everything. The cork's what?
Cork's gone on that one, I think.
Lovely, lovely. Yep, just got deliveries coming in there while we're at it. The cork's gone.
On that one out.
Yep, the cork's flattened off. Oh yeah, it's gone really flat. So recorked and the insole pushed straight. You've already started pulling the stitches out. So that's these shoes here that are Churches with a Cheaney sole on. Did you get a picture of that Cheaney sole? Did you see that? Lovely. Okay, so we'll send this video to our customer, let him have a look at it, and it'll just get some feedback from him. See what we need to be doing with these beautiful Churches. Quite difficult to get these videos because we did that days ago, and now Paul's got the shoes ready. The customer, finally, we had a chat with the customer, sent him the video that you've just seen, and the customer decided to go with the Dainite sole. So customers have the Dainite sole on these beautiful Churches, and they're just ready now to have the edges all painted up. They've got the brand new heel stack in there. All stitched together. They've gone together beautifully, really nice. We've got a shoe tree in them. We've stitched up the edges where they were damaged, and now we're going to take the Saphir Renomat or Renomat, or what, you know, I'm not quite sure which one it is, and give them a really good scrubbing to get all this polish out of them, and they give them a polish up. You can see where they've had a few knock marks on the toe there, look, where they've been caught, and that's the sole on there, look. And Paul's done really well, because this is a narrow shoe, and to get the Dainite sole on nicely without dropping into the stitches, and into the holes. You see the little cavity. Listen, it's not a problem. Look at all these here, look, all of these. Get in there, Dave, have a look at those, all waiting to be stitched on. All Dainite soles, and there's a Ridgeway sole in there, look. So this is the Dainite sole. These are Dainite soles. This is a brand new boot from Joseph Cheaney, and look at that. It's just been stitched, and they've dropped in to the craters there. Yeah, you're nodding, Dave. Don't shake that camera. You're nodding there. But it's no detriment. Are you getting me there, Dave? Are you getting me? It's no detriment to the shoe. It's all absolutely solid. It just doesn't look particularly nice. But the reason for that, and what Joseph Cheaney have done, is they've got this sole unit here, which is their own sole unit, and a few customers didn't like the idea that Cheaney weren't using the original sole unit. But the sole unit that they had done here, look, with the Joseph Cheaney name on there, look, okie doke. You see how the pattern is closer together? Look at the gaps here, look, between the studs. So on a shoe that's made on a last with a lovely, nice, beautiful, delicate profile, such as all of these shoes here, we can now get the Dainite sole unit on without that happening. Now, Cheaney weren't being clever when they did this, as in they weren't trying to save money by not using the original Dainite sole. It's just that they wanted it. Look at the gap between the holes there, look, you see, between the studs. So they were just trying to make it so that they could make a shoe, put the Dainite sole on it, up here, Dave. Put the Dainite sole on it and make it on a narrow elast, and it would fit without dropping into the stud holes, which has always been a little bit of a problem. So that's the shoes there. I'm just going to clean them off. We'll give them a polish up. Like I say, we've done all the stitching and the repairs on them. These Churches will be ready to go out back to our customer once they've been scrubbed off and polished. So we're back carrying on with the Churches. Paul has now done all the edges there. Just zoom in and have a look at the edges. Look, can you see how beautiful? This is what they should look like when they come back from your repairers. Beautiful edges, nice and square, nice and crisp. Really, really nicely done. We clean them with the Renomat. This is the stuff we use, and we use a brush like this. These are little lovely Hewitt's brushes. We have these brushes. I don't know how much. In fact, if I just look down there, they are $3.99, these brushes. But what we do with our brush here, look, just we fill this with the Renomat, and then we give it a nice, and we get in there with the brush. But what I like to do, I like to take this brush and just cut the bristles down. Yeah, cut the bristles down like this. Makes a bit of a mess, but does a great job. What we're doing, cutting these bristles down, is we make the bristles, because they're shorter, they're a little bit tougher and a little bit chunkier. So we cut the bristles down like that. So we end up with a little chunky brush like that, and the bristles are a little bit more stiff because they're shorter and they've not got as much flex in them. So that when we're giving a scrub, we're not damaging the surface of the leather, but we're getting this Renomat into the leather and into the edge of the welt, and we're giving them a really good clean off. So this is what we've done here with these here. Then we're going to put some Renovateur. Renovateur is what it says, Renovator. Renovator cream on here, and super lightly. This stuff is so expensive. Just take a little bit of this cream here with a rag and just work it in, and you see this is putting goodness back into the leather. As we see there, look, lovely, 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 putting goodness back in. And we can do the whole shoe with this Renovator. We've just stopped for 2 seconds while we serve our great lovely. So we've just stopped there to serve a customer. So we're just really lightly working this Renovateur. It puts cream back in, puts goodness back into the leather. You can see there's a few cracks in the uppers there. Look, you see, and it's just, there's a dark line around there. Look, you see that dark line? That there is on the shoe, and I think that is a lasting mark, that is. So we're just working this in all around the edges, and we go all the way around the shoe with the Renovateur, and keeping it super light, using just a tiny little bit. This is one that we've done earlier, and you can now just brush this up if you want to, and just give that a shine, and you get a nice shine with that. Look, it just comes up nice shine. It looks okay. However, what we could do at this point is go with the Saphir cream, and what the Saphir cream will do is put some colour back in. Obviously the Renovator is just neutral, and we're just relying on the pigments already in the leather, and the colour coming back from the leather just when we've put the goodness back in. But this will put a little bit of colour in. So we'll now go with the dark cream and get the colour built back up a little bit and give them a richness that the Renovator won't put them back in. Now, if you like to see them with the colour just not as rich, let's say, a little bit what I would call washed out, you don't have to go with the cream. The cream really does have a good strong pigment, and I like to use a brush for everything really. And this is also feeding the leather, and we'll just not do the strap for now, just to see the contrast. Nice and thin. Work it well into the leather. Nice and thin, not too much, because we know too much is terrible, because too much just lays on like tar. Looks awful. And then give it a brush off. And I think we'll be able to see a colour, beautiful colour, come back in these churches. Oh, look at that there, look. So this here, let's just give this one a bit of a brush over, and we'll see a shine start to appear on the Renovateur. So that is shining a little bit, but look at the difference there. That's got the pigment in it because we've gone with the cream. Now, there could be an argument not to bother with the Renovator and just go straight with the cream and put the colour in, but everybody says to put some goodness back into the leather. so that we've done it exactly as should be. What you can do now, after we've done that stage, is go over with a polish and get a real high shine on those. That's because a cream is good for the leather. It's got the pigment in, doesn't shine as good as a polish. So a polish could go over there, and that would be the 4 stages: the Renomat, the Renovateur, the cream, and then finally a little bit of polish. And then we could go to mirror polish just on the toe and so on. But they're the 4 stages if you're going to do it absolutely right. And you wouldn't do that regularly. That would be a one-off you might do that every 12 months or so. But just to show you how those shoes will be going back, those beautiful churches, having had that full repair, and hopefully our customer will be happy with those.